There's a migrant crime spree killing Americans, and the president's an accessory to murder. Just this week alone, an illegal from El Salvador was arrested in connection with the murder of a toddler. Another illegal from Honduras was arrested for raping a teenage girl at knife point in Louisiana. A Guatemalan migrant was arrested in Boston for sexually assaulting a child.
Well, that's disappointing.
In Virginia, a Venezuelan illegal was arrested for sexually assaulting another child. In New York, a man was stabbed outside of a migrant shelter in Central Park. And at the border, 11 illegals with criminal histories were arrested: child molestation, assault, rape, murder, and arms trafficking.
Not okay.
Biden held a press conference about crime today. He didn't mention Laken Riley, migrant crime or sanctuary cities, nor did he mention bail reform or radical prosecutors. Didn't hear anything about narcotics, black fathers, gangs, or smash and grabs either. He talked about banning guns.
We're going to finish the job. We're going to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines next time around because it has to be done.
What Biden calls assault weapons are only involved in 3% of homicides. The issue's black-on-black crime with handguns. And now we're dealing with migrant crime. Laken Riley wasn't killed with a gun. Biden's migrant smashed her head in with his hands. Biden hasn't even called Laken's family, but he was on the phone with George Floyd's relatives immediately.
Seriously?
Politicians want to wash the blood off their hands, but we're not going to let them. Biden's policies killed Laken. Biden campaigned on inviting migrants to rush the border.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
Biden told the world to come.
That's too damn bad!
And once they arrived, Biden assured them they're safe to commit crimes in sanctuary cities.
Vice President Biden, you opposed sanctuary cities as a presidential candidate in 2007. Where do you stand now? Should undocumented immigrants arrested by local police be turned over to immigration officials?
No.
Biden campaigned on the policies that let Americans be raped and murdered. He owns this. A vote for Biden is a vote for more death. Athens, Clark County, where Laken was murdered by Biden's migrant, is a sanctuary county. Jose was arrested there for shoplifting. Cops ran a background check on him. He couldn't speak any English. They knew he was illegal. They let him off with a ticket, never called ICE. The mayor of Athens, Clark County, Kelly Girtz, knows this, but held a press conference and lied to his people's faces.
This term sanctuary city doesn't have a sole legal or procedural definition.
Liar!
Many of the elements will be time for
Liar.
questions.
You are guilty and got blood on your hands for this murder, sir.
And no policies have been adopted by the mayor and commission that have created sanctuary city status in Athens.
You need to resign.
One protocol that sometimes arises.
Resign!
Resign now!
You allowed
One protocol.
this to happen. You're fired. You're fired. You need to go, sir. We don't want to hear from you no more.
Yeah, damn right!
You're not defending us. You're not upholding your oath of office, sir. You are lawless. You are a criminal. We created this government and we pay your salary. You do what we want you to do, not what you want to do.
Yep.
Americans are sick and tired of being lied to by pathetic politicians who think we can't read the laws they write behind our backs. We investigated Georgia law. The state prohibits sanctuary cities. But these wicked little mayors, like this guy, while everyone's distracted, create loopholes to prevent their towns from working with ICE. So they can brag about how kind and compassionate they are towards migrants. And then when Americans are murdered by migrants, these fringe libs lie and cover their hides and claim, oh, we're not a sanctuary city, even though they bragged about it 5 years ago. Watch.
And whereas white nationalists and xenophobes have been emboldened by some politicians and members of the media, and we recognize that our entire community not just people of color and immigrants, is harmed by the existence of white supremacy in our community going unchallenged. And whereas our immigrant and undocumented neighbors, especially those of Latinx heritage, face daily fears and threats from individuals and institutions such as ICE, and whereas for the Athens community to be whole, it is necessary that families and loved ones remain together and that all people, including those without documentation, feel welcome and comfortable.
You see, Kelly welcomed illegals, shut out ICE, now an American girl's dead. It wasn't white supremacy that killed her, it was white guilt. And we don't care what color migrants are. America's the land of immigrants. But protecting criminal illegals from deportation doesn't make you look like you have a big heart. Makes you look like you have a small brain. And anybody who uses the phrase Latinx is a joke. This guy Kelly, who just said it's not a sanctuary city, then says we had to make it a sanctuary city to protect migrants from Trump. What?
While 2019 was not that long ago, you might remember the dynamic we were living in the late teens in this country, where you had the President of the United States speaking in the most vile terms about people who were foreign born. And you had that notion metastasizing in places like Charlottesville.
This is an invasion!
This guy's blaming Charlottesville for Biden's migrants murdering his city's college kids. This man's got a migrant fetish. He wants to protect illegal aliens more than American citizens, even after a migrant killed a girl next door. He says there's no such thing as migrant crime.
I caution against conflating immigration and crime. The data demonstrates that the two are not connected.
Stop lying! All right, this man's an idiot. You want to know the data that connects illegal immigration and crime? Lakin's dead body. That's all the data you need. Jose's a bad hombre who shouldn't have been in this country. Migrant crime is so much worse than what's reported because sanctuary cities hide it. All the American cities, the big ones, are sanctuary cities, and they don't report migrant crime to the FBI. Plus, the government labels all these migrants white. Look at the police report. The cops classified Jose as white. He's from Venezuela, doesn't speak English, name's Jose, and he's white. So you can see the Associated Press headline right now. White Athens resident arrested in the death of solo female jogger. This is getting insane. Jose from Venezuela, God knows how long his rap sheet is there, caught and released at the border in New York and in Georgia. Now a girl's dead, and the left is protecting the reputations of the migrants instead of the lives of Americans.
Oh my God.